Right. We get the notification on the phone, so we're good.
We are good.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, welcome to another Bet and Bankers live stream. So today we're going to be covering off the football that's in play. So we've got Bayern, Schalke, Leon are playing memes. There's some Belgian football and some Dutch football as well. So we keep an eye on that action and then discussing all of the weekend sport and action. So there'll be a little bit of golf talk, some NFL talk, and then around, I think our main bets for the weekend all centre around football. So we'll be discussing those bets and what our logic is behind them. So should be a decent show and be entertaining. Those of you who've been tuning in before will notice that there's a few new faces. So welcome Mark and Paul to the party. They're going to be part of the Bet and Bankers from now on. So as usual, any questions or anything you want to ask us, just drop a message in the chat and we'll try and get back to you. So lads, Liam, over to you. Do you want to give us a quick view of your bets tonight?
Not particularly, because we started a little later than expected and my bet is already dead, so I moved past my one pretty quickly.
Optimistically
I went under 1.5 in the Bayern game, thinking it might be just a sluggish start to the season. They haven't had any proper sort of pre-season, but Bayern are 3-0 up after half an hour, so that is gone. You had a nice start to yours, Mark Lee, because Serge Gnabry scored at least one of those goals. So they're off to a flyer.
Yeah, he was the dark horse.
Yeah.
So he didn't show you that sort of form at Arsenal, I don't think.
No,
or West Brom, for that matter.
No. You've picked out your matches are about to kick off, Slats, in the Dutch league, so I might hop over to these.
Over to mine, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, yeah. The Dutch second division is usually decent for the goals. I normally don't back results in it. I just back goals, but there's only 2 games kicking off at 8 o'clock, so I said I better include a few results. So the first one is Roda versus Dordrecht. I've gone for both teams to score with that expectation of goals and also Roda to win. They've wrote of 11 goals in their first 3 games of this season, so definitely expecting goals. It hasn't been both teams to score in any of those 3, but they've conceded 4 and scored 8, I think, in those games, or conceded 4 and scored 7 rather. And the 6 games before that had both teams to score, so that's looking good. 4 of the 5 Dordrecht games had both teams to score. The other being a 0-0 draw, which was a bit of an anomaly. And then the other game I have is Go Ahead Eagles to draw with
Young Ajax.
Yeah, sorry, to draw with Ajax. Again, yeah, Go Ahead Eagles, they drew 7 of the 14 home games last season, so expecting a draw there, and both teams to score.
When you look at the stats,
who came up with the name of Go Ahead Eagles? Like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's class.
Yeah, but when you go through the stats in that league,
take the lead and then draw.
There used to be like
They just never stay ahead. They go ahead, but never stay ahead.
And then they'll draw. It'd be ideal. Yeah, your bets were off to a good start, Lee. If you want to run through them there for us.
Yeah, mine were kind of early season bets without any real form to go on. So obviously Bayern and Serge Gnabry, the late choice for the goal scorer. Obviously they were heavy favourites, so we need to add something. And I think the bet is still not very high value. So, but anyway, I need to get off to a good start. I've a lot of big shoes to follow in this group. And then one of my favourite Celtic players in the last few years, Moussa Dembele, Leon mid-table. So I hope he can score tonight. And
is that an 8 o'clock kickoff, or is that?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
he's having a bit of aggro there, isn't he, Lee? Dembele, he's having a bit of aggro there, I thought, with the coach. Because I actually backed him. I don't know whether it was the last game or was the game before. I backed him in the shots market, and he got taken off at half time and stormed down the tunnel and stuff. So I was kind of thinking he might have put him for a transfer or something, because he didn't play in the European final either, or a semi-final after last year. So,
well, he started tonight anyway. So at least,
I mean, I'm surprised he's still there. To be honest, like he's he obviously like he lit it up at Celtic, went to Lyon, which is a weird move, and then not a weird move. I mean, obviously he's French, but going there, like I'm surprised he hasn't been snapped up by someone soon, 24. But yeah, he's a great goal scorer. And then what was the last one? QPR Coventry this evening over 1.5.
Sorry, did you do the match to be over 1.5?
Yeah, I mean that's
There's a communication breakdown there because you've backed QPR to win and over 1.5.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, QPR, sorry, yeah,
Oh, you did do that, okay.
But I mean, yeah, but QPR is the banker, obviously, up for I think a few people tipped them for relegation and they won last week, so obviously they're going to win tonight.
I was thinking banker. When I saw them, they were already like 13-8. I was like, oh, that's a decent price. And then they add in the over 1.5, it goes up a good bit.
Yeah, they're 2-1 for the win now. 20 minutes into that game.
Yeah. What have you picked out tonight, PK?
So I just played it safe. I had a quick look around the big leagues. Thought Bayern -1 was. I was tempted by -2, but we know by your bet, the head was saying maybe it'll be a sluggish start, but Bayern are known to be sluggish. But yeah, that's basically in already. At a big 3-10. Leon looked good. Should be winning that home game easy. I've actually backed them -1 just in a separate single bet. And I went for the big. I decided to go for Charleroi in the big top of the table derby there in Belgium. What a weird game. But they've started 5 from 5. And I've seen highlights of a few of their games on here just on the app I use, and they've looked good. They've been playing some very good football, so I'd expect a home win there too.
Good to see.
Yeah, just
risks anyway, PK.
Sorry.
Good to see you've taken a few risks.
I like making money, not throwing it away. That's all. I'm just saying, if a 2-1 shot comes in and it wins.
I think under 1.5 in the Bayern game was bigger odds in the entirety of that treble, PK. So you made the right call playing it safe.
Under 1.5 first half goals, is it?
Yeah. I mean, there's already been 3, so it doesn't. There's no way I can spin that makes it.
Is that when you said to me that you were like, you had the bet up and then you went, if I add this in, it puts it up to like.
I sent that to Slats last night and it was like 88-1 without that stupid part, but it went to 220 something to 1 with added it in. So I was on the fence and I added it in.
220.
Yeah. I'm sure the rest of them are going to come in now. It's just going to be.
It's bound to now, like since you had them all built out, just the rest of them. Yeah.
I think
I feel like we need to have champagne on ice.
Your crazy market bets and just finding value everywhere, and with my safe, risk averse. So it's nice to have a little equilibrium here, like.
Yeah, exactly. Balance it out. What did you go for tonight, Gary?
I kind of spread the love around now, to be honest. So the 5-fold on. I'm with Lee on the QPR anyway. So they've obviously lost a few players from last year, but they had a decent win last week. And Coventry are just newly promoted. So I was thinking QPR had a bit of confidence behind them, looked overpriced, 21-10. Just looked too big. So I said I'd back them. I was kind of with you in the Bayern match in terms of I looked at Bayern and they were 1-15 to win. There's so many like really heavy odds on that I said I'll take a chance on Schalke. So I tried to back it up with stats, and if the stats didn't back it up, so I looked at the last 4 meetings of the teams. Schalke had only got 1 shot on target in each of the teams, but I was just taking a risk or a chance on early season form and Schalke getting a couple of shots on target. So I think they've got 1 so far. So bets good thing about that market is it's never dead. Do you know that way?
Yeah.
Might take the foot off the gas or whatever. So yeah, they've 1 shot on target after 30 minutes, so not going too badly. Then Memphis Depay in the Lyon match to have 2 shots on target. So again, it's even money. He takes the free kicks. He's always in there out of the box. So in a game again where Lyon were heavy favourites, I thought that was kind of a value bet. In Ireland, they've gone for Bohemians to beat Sligo Rovers. Sligo are a bit up and down. Both have had a decent season this year so far. So I think even though as a Shells fan I don't like cheering them on, I've put them in there. And then Utrecht looked to be the dodgy leg. So it's 50 minutes in and they're 1-0 down. But again, it was just to have an interest in the match more than anything else. This stage of the season, you can't really have too hard opinions. So 72-1 or whatever that is, I was hoping to get a bit of a run out of it. But as I said, I need Utrecht to turn it around in the next half an hour or so.
Did you watch Shamrock Rovers last night, Gary?
I didn't, no. Unfortunately, my day job got in the way. But yeah, like, I mean, fair play to them for getting there, and it's a good draw and stuff, but they never really had a chance at John. So, did you watch it?
No, I didn't. I just watched some highlights today, but I mean, it's like Jesus, AC Milan. It reminded me of when Real Madrid played that friendly in Tottenham Stadium a few years ago when Ronaldo signed that summer. And it was like you see these huge clubs playing in Ireland, and it's kind of surreal for a while. Like there was a photograph, like striker for Rovers Green was like shaking hands with Zlatan at the end, and like the comment on Twitter was like, you don't appreciate how much of an athlete like these top players are. And you saw him standing there. Obviously Ibrahimovic, impressive guy anyway, but he looked like an Adonis standing there. It's just showed the goal.
His jersey for his son, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I saw that myself, and then someone else was basically saying that like the physicality of the teams, not just the skill levels, like you can see that they're proper athletes, like that way. So it was good. Like I mean, said it's a pity it wasn't a normal environment because it would have been much more of a money spinner for Rovers and stuff. But then again, as League of Ireland goes, Rovers probably don't need the money anyway. So. They'd probably pull out a bit more of an advantage over the other team. So, as a Shells fan, I'm kind of happy they didn't get the funding, but as an overall League of Ireland, it's been good to see.
Was I the only one on the clock there to explain my bets? I felt pressure.
There was a quick change of those lads.
Phase. Yeah, when you went past you were only halfway through. You only finished one of the two legs and the minute was over.
Tell me about it, yeah.
The pressure watching 30 seconds.
I think
Gary, you said Sligo have been up and down, but like since the restart, they're the form team in the league.
Yeah, but they're up and down.
That was before. They were bottom of the table before that, but they've won their last 4 at home. They've won 4 of their last 5. They've drawn away to Pats. Bows have lost their last 2.
Still don't think they're a good team though.
I'm Sligo's like I'm a Sligo Rovers supporter.
I know, that's
I'm just arguing my point here.
Being a red.
You've got against my team with your enemy, like it's just bad form.
I'm going for an independent viewpoint of Bows will win the match. So
nearly take a bet on that.
Well, come here, they did well out of Matt Doherty, out of the Matt Doherty signing. Jesus, I didn't like it's when they're
just while we're talking,
signing on for
I think Charleroi just scored in your bet, PK.
Sweet.
So I just managed to get my bet on. So I actually reloaded there. I did Charleroi to win and over 1.5. QPR to win because the lads have me convinced. And then Depay to have 2 shots in France. Oh no, Dembele to have 2 shots in the French game. So that is 17-1. So I've really good start anyway with Charleroi scoring. Usually when you rush a bet like that, you miss it by about 2 seconds instead of getting it by about 2 seconds.
Was suspended just as you're placing the bet.
Yeah, had a few of those.
Nothing better.
Or the cash out keeps getting suspended, and then you can't cash out, and the bet loses. That's also an occurrences that I've experienced anyway. Not often now.
They definitely do.
Bets towards the end.
I think when there's like a good cash out available, I think they just suspend it and just make you suck it up. Because there's definitely been times where there's no reason for them to go suspended. You're sitting there with like 82 minutes onwards and the match is just suspended.
Technical issues.
Technical issues.
I remember complaining to Paddy Power about that before when I had one of my first accounts with them. And they just came back and were like, you have no legal
There was a
right.
documentary out a few years ago and it was focused on horse racing, but they had cameras in the Paddy Power head office, and then there was this lad. He was just like an average punter. He used to just go to the race course, the same race course in the UK. I can't remember which one it was. And he just drove 5 bets on, and he was at the parade ring, and like it was basically simultaneous. Him at the parade ring and the lads in the head office. And they were all huddled around waiting for the race to kick off, talking about, the money's coming in on this horse. We're seeing he's the favourite. And then your man cut to the other guy at the parade ring, and he was like, there was a stable running 2 horses, and the heavily backed horse was there, and he was trotting around, but he was seen like your man was used to looking at horses. He was like, no, he's looking nervous. The second horse they had that was, a long price, he was just strutting around. All the owners were around the second horse. And like obviously knowing the Paddy Power HQ knew anything about this, so he threw his little fiver on the second horse, and like it came in, that way. And it was just like, it's like as big as the bookies are and as much information they have, like sometimes, when you just have the inside track on something, like you can't.
Just how many times have we seen in a horse race where someone is saying like, oh, you picked the wrong one out of the stable, because they just, that seems to happen. Not that I ever get on the right side of it, but apparently it does seem to happen to other people. How are your Dutch matches looking, Slats?
Well, not all at the moment, but there seems to be a lot of action in the road Dordrecht game anyway. Both teams had it. I think I was saying to you already, I was looking at doing a same game multi, and one of the bets I was going to do was Roda to score the first goal, just because, they're expected to win. They should go up 1-0. You'd imagine that happens most of the time, but Dordrecht in their last 3 defeats have gone up 1-0 and then gone on to lose. So it's looking, like that could happen again here, or certainly that Dordrecht could go up 1-0. Not much action in the Eagles-Ajax game so far. Still in on both of them.
Is this the first round in that league, or is it a?
No, there's been, I think, 3 games. I think everyone's played 3 games now. So they didn't bother wrapping up last season because it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So yeah, they just brought it to an end, and they've started up this season now. There are 3 games in.
Right.
Because there is a lot of the kind of reserve teams playing where they actually their primary team is in the first division, so they can't get promoted anyway. It's you know what I mean. It's kind of like a mix between a second division and a reserve league.
Yeah.
So I guess there isn't as much impetus to actually out.
Yeah. So what about over the weekend, lads? There's a few different bets that we've all sort of picked out. I just clicked onto yours there, Gary. You've got a nice broad selection of bets for the weekend.
Yeah. So the first one is, well, firstly, I've focused on football here because I'm definitely going to have some horse racing bets, and I'm definitely going to have some NFL bets, but I just didn't get time to do the research on them. So the Air Gold Cup and Silver Cup are on tomorrow in the horse racing. So definitely be back in something there, so we can stick out on our Twitter feeds or whatever what I back there. And then NFL, I think anybody interested in the NFL, I know the lads have some NFL bets in theirs, but we'll probably do a quick preview show on Sunday when all of the markets are together, because the markets I like to back in are the player overs in terms of rushing yards and receiving yards and anytime touchdown scores. So I said anybody wants to have it, we'll do a quick show on Sunday. But on the football, so yeah, Exeter, like I think they lost 1 game at home last season in the league. Their home record over the last few years, they win 60 or 70% of their home games. Port Vale have started the season like they're only 1 game in, but they played well last week, but they are dodgy on the road. So I thought 6-5 was a bit of value about Exeter. Then Norwich, obviously they have Pookie still, they've Adamida, and they signed Jordan Hugel, who they signed him from West Ham, but he was on loan with QPR last year, and he scored a good few goals. So their attacking threat is serious. Preston conceded a good few goals. So again, I think they'll win. Lincoln, to me, seemed like a massive price away to the MK Dons. I don't really see why they're that price. So I've gone with the MK Dons aren't anything special. And Lincoln are quite a decent team. I think Lincoln's 2 games they've played this season, so 1 in the league, 1 in the cup, they've scored 7 and haven't conceded. They're 7-4 away from home. So I put that in. And then Fleetwood against Peterborough. So these 2 sides finished last season quite close in the league. I think Fleetwood were 5th and Peterborough were 6th. Fleetwood, again, they won last week. Decent side. I think they're going to be up there for promotion again. And there's 12-5. Like, I mean, I don't think it's a banker by any means, but 12-5 just seems like a massive price about them. They probably, like, I would have backed them at 6-4, let alone 12-5. So, like 36-1, Aka, I think has a decent shout.
Nice, yeah. There's some actually good prices in there. It's mad that like the 307 at 36-1. It's a huge price for the four of them. I do like Lincoln actually. They're pretty good odds.
Yeah, like the only thing about the Lincoln match is the head-to-head. So against the MK Dons, they haven't been great. And that was actually another thing that came into the Exeter thinking as well. Exeter played Port Vale at St. James's Park 4 times over the last couple of years, and they've won 3 of those matches by 2-0. So when they win, they win easily, you know. So yeah, the head-to-head against MK Dons worries me for Lincoln because over the last 4 or 5 games, I think they've only won 1, drawn 1, and lost the other 2 or 3. But again, on the form this season, they scored 7, conceded none. They're going to be brimming with confidence. I just couldn't not back them at 7-4.
Yeah. I've picked out myself. My weekend bets are slightly different. So I've gone for a much broader type of thing. So the Serie A is back anyway tomorrow, which is so the one I picked out there is Verona. So Verona are at home to Roma. So I've backed Roma, and they're my kind of banana peel team, but they're even money against Verona. And Verona, like they're very much a home team, but it's because of the atmosphere in that stadium. And I think after the restart, they were nothing like they were beforehand, and it kind of their home form kind of petered out a bit. So I just think, I mean, it's only preseason games. Roma looked pretty impressive in their couple of preseason games. They looked kind of sharp. They haven't lost any players, which is a good summer for them. And I think even money against Verona is a big shout. The first one that we have as well, it'll come after that, but first on the bet slip is it's a college football game. So it's Navy against Tulane. And just, I think Navy started very, very poorly this season, but because of some COVID concerns, they were having non-contact practice. And they brought that back in now, so I think they're going to step up considerably. I'd actually probably back them without the handicap as well. I think I got them at 5-2. I think they're into 2-1 now, but I think they'll be very, very impressive. And I think they were miserable last week. They'll probably try and look to rectify that. So I think the handicap there is pretty generous. So those 2 evens, and then the last one then is Parma Napoli. So both of those teams score and concede quite a lot. I think Napoli are probably going to win that match, sort of like 2-1, 3-1 type of scores, what I have in mind. But after the slightly adventurous Friday night bet, I thought I'd play it safe for tomorrow. So that one's just basically evens as well. I think it's 10-11. So that's a 9-1 treble between the 3 of those. So a broader spread of sports, but still playing it pretty safe.
Yeah, it looks decent. You obviously had some decent wins last week on the college football as well. So is one I'll be following you in on.
Yeah, I've actually picked out a few of them. I can share them, but I'm just not anything as confident as the ones last week. So like the last week ones were sort of 4-1, and I would have thought they should have been sort of even money today or tomorrow. I've got a few sort of 2-1. So Navy are one of them. Marshall are another team. I think they're 2-1. There's a few kind of good prices. I think college football often gets it early in the season because you can't really, the turnover of players and stuff like that. It's much harder to predict, and you'll get better odds. But like I said, I'm not as confident. I think this week is kind of a lot more. There's some absolutely like massive sort of 40-1 on favourites, and then a couple of very, very tight matches. But next week I think we'll have some pretty good college football bets again.
Yeah, because like in the American football, the college football, the handicaps can be serious. I remember one day doing like a 50-point spread and thinking like, this can't be beaten, and then it's half time and it's like 60-0. You're just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
That happened to me last week. Remember, I sent you on the screenshot. I had 4 teams to beat the handicap, or one of them to win with the handicap at +44, and they won +44. I had another team to win like -40. I had one crowd to win -47.5, and they won 47-0. So I lost the bet on like just absolutely how you can go like. Had it in my rugby playing days where you can lose 47-0 and not even get within a single score, but it's a miserable score to see. But yeah, the thing is the gulf between, because there's so many teams, like there's not really divisions that you get in soccer, say, and you're kind of buffered out from the top teams. You get these basically professional level athletes playing fellas who are just not even remotely at that level. So it's a bit. I don't enjoy watching those matches where they're beating them 65-3.
Yeah, no, they're not enjoyable. You need to be a purist there, and you need to actually be a fan of one of the teams, I think, to watch those games. Even though, like, I love American football, I watch it kind of anywhere. But hold up, sorry, I think QPR have a panel.
Go on, QPR. Go on.
Sorry, yeah.
Go on.
Good QPR.
Yeah. So, and while we're on the bets of this evening, Utrecht have equalised as well. So my bet's starting to look up.
Love Utrecht.
Yep.
After a flyer.
That'll do.
Great show, boys.
I don't know whether that's a penalty or not, but I'll take it.
We'll take it.
I don't think there's no VAR in the championship anyway, isn't there?
No.
No.
While we're waiting on that, you have speaking of American sports, Slat, you've picked out an NFL or an NBA.
Yeah. Slats, I saw this. I was intrigued for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know. I assumed that came from Gary, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I've got a bit of an interest in the NBA lately, and by interest I mean exclusively a gambling interest, and not.
And I mean just for all the viewers here, Slats is actually 6'7" as well, so we had hopes to play in the NBA.
If you've ever seen Uncut Gems, that's basically Slats' interest in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All about beating those spreads, as you can see with my English bet tonight. But it's a great sport for betting on. There's so many markets, so many player markets, and like so many points scored. When we're talking about the soccer here, it's all about, over 1.5 goals or 2.5. But in that, it's like players to score 25 points or 30 points, and you've rebounds, assists, 3-pointers, double doubles, triple doubles.
You stayed away from the points by the looks of it.
I did. I mean, I looked at every market, but I've gone for 3 rebound markets for Nuggets, and well, actually, there is 1 points market. I went for assists with Davis and under points for Rono for the Lakers as well. So I did.
Bold call under points. What's your logic there?
Well, Rono, so like he's averaged 7.1 points per game this season, and his spread is 9.5. So already he's, looking a bit off there. In his last 10 games, he had 3 in a row where he hit double figures in his points. But aside from that, he's down at like 3-4 points a game. Like last game, he scored 3 points. So it looks like that kind of good run of double digits came to an end. He's also carrying a back injury, so he's doubtful to play. He's questionable on the injury report, is how they phrase it. But what that often results in is reduced minutes. So he might play, but actually not end up on court that often, or he might still be a name on the bench and not actually get onto the court at all. So he still gets the bet through.
Is that bet not voided? No, if he doesn't play a minute.
If he doesn't make the team at all, but they often put players who are carrying an injury, and it's kind of I guess like a Hail Mary if they're maybe needed that they throw them on. But he might get a few minutes, but it could well be reduced minutes. So it's impossible to know. He could play normal minutes, just depending on what.
But even if he plays normal minutes, you're saying that his average is
true. But I think with the stats anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the other player for the Lakers is Davis, who's been on decent form in the playoffs. It's the finals of the Western Conference. So the Nuggets took out the Clippers in the last round, and the Lakers topped the conference, so they'd be big favourites anyway. Davis has been playing well for the Lakers. He's only 3.5 for assists as spread, which he doesn't get a massive number of assists, but he's been above that in 7 of his last 8 games. So on form, like his season assists averages 3.2 per game, so a little below it. But on form, he's 7 out of 8 games above it, so it seems like a decent bet above it. And expecting it to be a high-scoring game tonight, so more points, more assists.
Oh, they're tonight and not Saturday night, are they?
Well, it's 2 a.m. Saturday, so just after midnight our time.
Because I was thinking of following in on them, so but I was thinking they were Saturday night, Sunday morning games. But yeah.
No, Friday night, Saturday morning. So they'll be the first of our weekend bets.
I think Jokic, like anytime I've seen him in a bet, he seems to be one of your favorites. And every time I've seen
Good
him in
man
a
for the
bet,
double doubles.
like so, yeah, he seems
Yeah.
like the lucky
Well, you've
charm.
seen, yeah, I've backed him a lot for double doubles, and it's generally the points and rebounds he gets. Now his spread for the rebounds is 10.5, so it's one additional rebound than making those double figures.
Are they all priced around the evens? All those bets up we have on the screen.
It varies on them. I mean, I don't know if you can see the bet slip there. Let me just look at it. I have
just
it.
without
Yeah,
the.
I see that like 29-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't have the individuals. Some of those would be
30,
4-6, and then a lot of them would swing around 4-5 or 10-11 or 11-10.
QPR just conceded, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. Back to one.
No, that's all right. That's all right. We want over 1.5.
Yeah, they need to
The
win.
whole second half
We need to win as well, true.
Anyone have both teams to score on that one?
No.
I'll just run through the rest of it. The other three markets are rebounds on the Nuggets. So yeah, like Jokic took 22 rebounds against the Clippers in the last game. So like 10.5 seems pretty beatable. He beat 10.5 in 7 of his last 8 games. So again, going on form, it seems a great bet. I also did Michael Porter Jr. for over 5.5 rebounds. He's beaten that in 8 of his last 10. And the 2 that he didn't beat the spread, he took 5 rebounds, so he was just on rebound under it. So basically, he's almost beaten it in his 10 straight games. But he's beaten it in 8 of them and just shy of it in 2. And then lastly, Jamal Murray, who had an unreal game, basically got them through it went to the 7th game in the last round against the Clippers. And Murray scored like 40 points and was unreal. But his rebounds aren't that high. He's been under 4.5 in 6 of his last 8 games. His season average is below 4.5. I think he got 4 in his last 2 games. So I'm kind of thinking he had such a massive game the last time. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him, a lot of defense up on him, and a lot of jostling in the court like with him. So just thinking it's likely he's not going to have another unbelievable game. His average is below that spread anyway. So I went with it.
I like it. I'm definitely going to do that bet myself.
Yeah, so like I said, anytime I've seen Jokic in there in any of your bets, it's been positive. So
he normally comes good. Yeah, he's definitely been underpriced this season or overpriced.
Yeah, like the unders are obviously like hay backing unders in
stressful. Yeah,
basically any sport, but because it can be over so quickly. But like you've got decent logic there. And then the overs look so achievable that it's kind of
you'd get a 5-1 or a 6-1 treble on those 3 overs anyway.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to back them anyway. So
yeah,
harm them a bit. Yeah, they're back, but they're all good reasoning. I like it. I don't know much about basketball myself, so.
I went through and picked out 9 of them, and then I narrowed it down to 5, so I can send you on the other 4 if you're feeling.
You get to any of the games over there, PK?
Sorry?
Do you ever get to any of the basketball games over in Canada?
I was at a Raptors game last year. It was the tail end of the regular season. They played. Rhoda just scored. Tail end of the regular season, just Rhoda against Georgette. And yeah, it was a crap game. Bulls were crap, and there was no atmosphere because we'd already topped the West, or we were guaranteed second in the East, I think, at that stage anyway. So, but it was mayhem this city when they won it. Not that I'm not much of a basketball fan, but it was scenes anyway. Hundreds of thousands of people rocking the streets. It was fun.
But the first time they ever won it.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
Like 25 years of franchise, so yeah, that was their first time.
And Kawhi Leonard was with them, wasn't he?
Yeah, went to the Clippers.
He disappeared off the Clippers, yeah.
Judas.
I know.
Did him no good anyway.
In the one breath, I don't even care about basketball. The dirty Judas.
No.
But is Kawhi like hated in Toronto, or is he still loved for actually winning it with them?
Oh no, they still love him.
I thought that was it. I thought I saw in a game when they played the Clippers this season that he was still getting shared.
It was a money and a family decision. I believe his family, they only rented the place up here, and his family is based in 2-0 Rhoda. His family is based in LA, so So yeah, that's part of the decision making there, I believe. So yeah, you can't hold it against him. He's only a 1 year contract here, and he did what he came here to do. Won them an NBA championship. So
Yeah.
Just speaking of
Well,
the
yeah.
NBA,
I
before
hope
we,
I'll be betting over to you for a game anyway, PK. So
I had tickets to the
here's live from Toronto with all of us over there.
yeah. Tickets are hard got though, and very expensive,
Live from the
unfortunately.
pub.
But I had tickets to the Chiefs Bills game in Buffalo. It's supposed to be in 4 weeks' time, I think, 5 weeks' time. But
Yeah, because that's only down the road because they're northern New York State. Aren't they?
they're right on they're just an hour or 45 minutes from Niagara, which is about 2.5 hours from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But tickets are already refunded. That's not happening. So
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that, PK?
just not I think anyone's that they're letting in minimal will be probably season ticket holders and stuff. So, which I don't mind. It's understandable too. And plus, we would have had issues going across the border anyway. So, we took a chance a few months ago when tickets come out on sale. We booked them and just in the hope, that things will be better. But that's gone.
it was funny, like last weekend with the college football, and you see the different stadiums and the different approaches to the virus. Like, I think the best one was Kansas State. Like, the stadium was basically full. I think they had something like 38,000 fans in the stadium. Loads of other stadiums like 0 fans. So there's all these meanwhile in Kansas tweets, and there's just like queues of people as absolute like the good old days, and then other people can't even have any fans. So it's mad the spread.
Funny the way the state laws work over there. That there isn't one consistent approach. Like.
Do what you like.
Yeah.
What did the Chiefs have, PK? Like 15,000 at the game there last weekend?
Yeah, it was something like 11,000. Yeah.
Yeah. It still made a decent noise, like.
It did, but so did the Browns fans last night.
Yeah, I didn't really see it, but I watched the highlights of the game. But
and Ajax scored.
I watched the other one live. So
How many fans did they have last night, PK?
I have no idea. I didn't see the first half. I was at other stuff, but I seen the second half. Poor Joe Burrows isn't going to last long. That with that offensive line, he got battered last night.
no, he's doing well though. Like, I mean, given that they have no defense and no offensive line, like he's got quite close to 2 results. Like, I think he's.
Yeah, there was a garbage time. Like touchdown there. Like it was over before. They never looked like they were going to win.
Yeah, they were all
Well, he was just
13 points behind.
like throwing the ball 60 times and getting hit 10 times, and then him scampering too. Like you're not looking at a very long career when you're at that in the NFL, unfortunately.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like that's half the battle is have a competent quarterback year one. If he can stay fit, then build around him, like.
Yeah, the seriously need an offensive line to protect him was.
The come from behind Eagles have gone down 1-0, so
yeah.
What you have in that one, you've got it.
Got the draw, which is good. They're the home team. Sorry for interrupting your football.
They're the away team, right? That's good.
No, the Go Ahead Eagles are at home.
Oh yeah, but they've gone behind. Yeah,
they've gone behind, so that's good because I want the draw. So I want them.
I think they should be our pet team for the season. Like every week we back their games just to try and get them going ahead 1 week.
Go Ahead Eagles. I was thinking about that. Wasn't there like some sort of like snack bar or something at home called Go Ahead, right? Company. Am I wrong in this?
It was a bar, chocolate bar or whatever.
That's hardly where the name comes from, is it?
Bars, wasn't it? Go Ahead.
Yeah, they were like healthy things or something. That's not where the name comes from, is it?
I doubt it.
Like some sponsorship deal.
Yeah.
Whole thing, like.
Yeah, it just seems like a crazy name for a team in Holland, like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
there's no way we're ending this stream without finding out what the name are.
I'm asking my friend Google here now right away.
My friend Google. Never lets me down.
It's your goldfish, PK.
Yeah, that's not bad though. That double's looking all right. Like we rolled it up 2-0.
It's even their actual history is even better because their first name was the Be Quick.
I'm just reading this here.
But before Go Ahead, it was Be Quick, like be fast. Yeah,
just be quick. No animal at the end.
Yeah, no, they were called Be Quick, and then they changed it to Go Ahead, and then they added the Eagles in 1971 after some head coach
sponsorship with Eagles.
Yes, the Be Quick. What an awful name. There's some
awful
awful names
to the
around.
Bears, but the health Bears anyway. But yeah, it says here at the request of the Dutch Football Association, they changed their name from Be quick to go ahead.
Doesn't make any.
Like, why isn't there more information in this? I'm going to be googling this for a while, lads. You can't just say
Down the
on the
rabbit hole.
request of the Dutch FA. Like, there has to be more to it.
Do it, PK. Do it. The thesis on the Dutch FA tonight.
We're cancelling this live stream because we all need to go and research. Go ahead, Eagles.
Go ahead, Eagles.
They're our banner team now for the season. They have to be involved in at least one bet every weekend now, boys.
Yeah.
The Lyon match just went suspended. Did anyone see why? There's no goal anyway.
Come on,
Probably a
Musa.
red card. So,
Come on, Musa.
Not seen anything.
Oh, well, Bayern have gone 4-0 up.
Yeah.
I took them off my notifications because it was pointless, right?
Well, unless you want shots on target for Schalke, and then you put it back on your notifications.
Oh yes.
How's that looking, Gary?
They've still only got one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Bayern make a few subs and
take
their foot off the pedal, but I think that's unlikely because they just seem to be harsh, like some.
Ruthless. Ruthless Germans.
But yeah, no, I said the good thing about that is it's never dead. There's a bit of value in it as well. So,
Can you see how many shots they've had there so far, guys? It was one after 30 minutes.
so there's still one there when I checked.
Three attempts and one on target.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Only started the second half though.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Bayern can sit back now. They've nothing really to play for now, do they?
Considering they've only got 29% of possession, I'm not too hopeful, like, but as I said, you're never dead, so hope for a corner and a couple of headers on target then.
Just soft efforts that never really threaten, but just do your best good.
That's it, like 35 yarders, just like dribbling along the ground.
Keeper catching him on his chest, like.
I'll probably have to drop soon, lads. So, do we want to talk a bit more about weekend bets, or?
Yeah, well, PK, before you do that, then tell us your 10 to 10k. If you had to do an evens bet, what would your bet of the weekend be if it was just a one shot?
I think I'd have to go with the Cardinals this weekend to cover the spread. I think it's set at 7. You can go slightly less at 5 to 6. I don't know if the rules are you have to be exactly evens, but or over.
5 to 6.
You can take 7 for 10 to 11 or whatever. But I reckon they're at home. They looked really good last week. DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray linking up brilliant. I think we'll see Kenyon Drake more in the running game this week. Washington have to go all the way out to Arizona too. I know they beat the Eagles last week, but the Eagles are flaky at best, especially early season. Like, I just I don't know how to quantify that result. I just know that the Cardinals look really good against San Francisco, especially.
So you're saying they have to win by more than 7 or 7 plus?
7 to be a push. So if you want to take if you're doing it, like, you can take 6.5 to make sure there's no push, or 7.5 even to get over evens. But yeah, no, I just think I like Washington. We all know they're in a bit of a lot of a transition. I don't hold much value to the result against the Eagles last week, and I put good value on the Cardinals, the way they beat San Francisco. So yeah, I think they're good to cover the spread against them. NFL can be dodgy, especially with them kind of lines, as we see last night with the Browns and Cleveland. The garbage time scores can sometimes disrupt them, because once it's a 2-score game, they don't really care right in the last play. But hopefully that won't come into play. But that would be my one.
Yeah, no, I agree with PK. I think, like, obviously I'm a 49ers fan, and was fairly impressed with obviously the Niners picked up a lot of injuries, but impressed by the Cardinals last week, and yeah, they should blow Washington away. So I think it's a solid bet. Like,
Nice.
I actually had them back myself. I backed them -7 at 10 to 11 today. So
yeah, 7 is a scary spread in the NFL though, because it's the exact score for the push. But then, as I said, you get your garbage time scores when it's a 2-score game. So let's hope they obliterate them, and it's a 3-score, 4-score game going into the fourth quarter. Like,
yeah, if Hopkins gets anything like the service he got last week, like, anything like the numbers he racked up, then it's hard to see how like Washington stay in touch, like, so.
Yeah, and if Kenyon Drake can get a bit more into it, he did great. He finished the end of last season brilliantly, and then he didn't have a great week last week, but Kyler Murray, as we've seen, that was a great touchdown he scored. He's got Cinderella feet or ballet feet. So
they were up against one of the best defenses in the league as well. I know it was Sherman out and things like that, but
at home in San Francisco too.
Like Nick Bosa and stuff coming towards you. So I think they're solid. I actually did so I was looking at the handicaps today to see if there was any value for myself, and I got it into my head that I would just like pick out who I thought was going to win. So I went through the whole 15 games from the first 6 o'clock game on Sunday to the last game on Monday Night Football. And then when I got to the end of it, it was 16,000 to 1. So I ended up putting a quid on it. So
anchor
every game against if you don't see me next week, lads, you'll know that I came in.
The NFL always throws one or two against.
I know,
against the grain.
It's hard enough to just settle on one and back it and be like ultra confident, but because I was just going through them, picking out and being like, all right, and I wasn't really intending to put a bet on, and then when I got to the end of it, I was like, it's 16,000 to 1. I have to back it now, like.
Once you look at something, those odds, and you can't not back it because
it's
worth
a quid.
Like, biggest mug bet ever, but on a mug.
We live in hope, Gary. We live in hope.
That's why you're not betting 20 quid on a mugs bet, though. You're just betting a quid.
No, a quid, a quid on it. And I said, worst case scenario, I'll get 3 hours entertainment out of it on Sunday. So, so I'll share it on our Twitter feed as well for anybody who wants to see it and potentially follow along.
They're all on the spread, Gary, right?
Yeah, every game against the spread.
Yeah.
So I won't read it out now because it's probably too long. But there's some quite high spreads in there. Like a lot of them are around 7 and 8, as you said. They're dodgy spreads in the NFL. But like each one individually, you'd be confident of about 10 of them, So
well, then you're definitely getting 5 out of 5 in our contest, so right?
Well, hopefully. I've probably gone against myself now,
Funny that's how it went.
And PK, before you run out of time, do you want to quickly talk us through the rest of your weekend's bets there?
Well, I just put in one. You'll probably learn this about me. It's pretty obvious that I'm not one for throwing in 10-team accumulators and stuff like that. But my one's just 5.5 to 1. But I think it's value. The Cardinals are in there at -6, so I pushed it to -6 because obviously I'm afraid of the push at 7. That can happen. So I just put in the 6 for the slightly less odds. I believe I'm going head to head with Mark Lee on a bet here with he's back in Chelsea and I'm taking Liverpool.
Yeah, well, we know how our head to head last week went, PK. It ended up with €20 on my Revolut account.
It sure did. I'll be willing to do it again, actually. On this one, I don't think we have any disagreements in the NFL this week. So no, I took a punt on the Falcons being better than last year, but I didn't think the Seahawks would actually be that good. They were very good last week. But yeah, so I think Liverpool, haven't watched the game against Leeds last week. They still have the firepower. They were scruffy at best. They had not much of probably a very down off season there after winning the league and whatnot. And they look just lethargic at the back and just sloppy. I don't see them doing that against Chelsea this week. I know they're away from home, but no fans again. What difference does it make? They'll be more on the ball and more up for this week. And I watched the whole of the Chelsea against Brighton game, and I wasn't overly impressed with Chelsea. Brighton controlled the ball for long periods in that game.
Chelsea didn't impress me at all in that game.
I don't think they have their system fully set up yet. There's a lot of good, like Werner didn't look that great either. The supply wasn't there for him, to me, and it's just not clicking yet. And if they give, Liverpool are going to press higher, turn the ball over better than Brighton did. Brighton, their high press isn't great, and Liverpool's will be this time or tonight or tomorrow, or Sunday, is it? So I expect Liverpool the firepower to keep going, and my scorecast now would be 3-1 Liverpool, to be honest. I think both teams will score because Liverpool did look dodgy against Leeds. I was impressed with Leeds though too. But yeah, I think Liverpool will be a lot sharper this week, and Chelsea just haven't. I don't think they're fully there yet. It's going to take a lot of 5-6 games for Lampard to get that system going right. So yeah, I expect Liverpool to win there, and the stats say both teams should score in Rennes and Monaco. The last 4 meetings between them, both teams have scored. Monaco have scored their last 5 games away from home. Rennes have scored their last 5 at home. Yeah, speaks for itself.
What odds is that? What odds is that part of the bet? The both teams.
That's 4 to 6.
6.
I think it's value at that.
Yeah, it seems like value there. Yeah.
Yeah, both teams. Well, Monaco started the season pretty well, and they're away from home, so you just have to fancy that Rennes might get one at home. Rennes aren't bad either at home, so. And I've talked through the Cardinals already, so yeah, that's 5.5. I'm happy enough to put 20 quid on that and try and win 100. That'll cover the rest of my losses, and hey oh.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty safe treble as 5.5
Well,
to 1 trebles go.
I don't know. You said you fancy a draw in the Chelsea Liverpool game. There's angles. There's a lot to be said for everything in that game.
I think that's definitely the dodgy leg.
Yeah.
The other two seem fairly solid.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a dodgy leg, but I thought it was value. Like I said, Liverpool scored 4 last week, so I know 2 penalties, but they still have the attacking form, right? And if they can dominate the ball against Chelsea, like if Brighton were getting over 50% possession, which I think they did against Chelsea, Liverpool, could see over 60% possession, and I think Chelsea will find it hard to do much damage from there. That's my thinking on it. Anyway.
I read that there's a bit of beef between Klopp and Lampard at the moment.
Yeah. Well, they
Is
had
there?
a little tasty.
Yeah, at the
encounter
end
on
of
the
last
touchline.
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard something on the radio about it. Yeah, I wasn't clear. Was it a recent thing? Or, yeah, end of last season, was it?
Yeah, like it was a decision was given or wasn't given, and Klopp was basically given out to Lampard for cheering or giving out to the refs or whatever. And then Lampard around him was like, just because you've won the league, the first time you've ever won something, you're getting all birdie big bollocks about it or whatever. But he shouted it like there was no fans in the stadium, and he shouted it across the dugout. So it was picked up by all the cameras and microphones and stuff. So then it was all over the internet.
Right.
So yeah.
So it's probably blown out of proportion a bit, like.
Yeah, but I'd say, like it was kind of personal as well. Like like it wasn't like just telling someone to do one or whatever. It was actually getting
there's enough truth in it.
I've won loads. You've only won one thing, like so.
They're definitely the worst insults as well. Like when they're not that rude, but they're very, very personal. You're just like,
yeah. It's
like
in that environment.
Did Mourinho say again about Wenger that time when he was like, "Oh, you're like a consistent loser" or something like that. You always finish second or whatever. And so like that was fairly harsh on Wenger. So kind of similar with Lampard.
I mean, like Lampard seems way more passionate as a manager than he did as a player. Like maybe I'm not remembering right as a player, but he always seemed calm and control on the pitch. Like there's been a few times where he's losing on the sideline. He seems just
must be more stressful though, standing on the sideline trying to watch it come together than actually being on the pitch.
Probably,
do something about it, like.
No direct control, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And on top of stressful, there must be a frustration as well because, like, things haven't exactly gone the way he might have wanted so far in his managerial career. And he's once they go out and start the game, he has no control over it really. So he, I think it's like, when Keane was a manager as well, he kind of seemed to have a similar, why can't you just do what you should do type of attitude about them, because he could do it, like.
He was always so calm and collected on the pitch as well.
Yeah. So
QPR, Coventry 2-1 against QPR, boys.
Okay.
Miracles. Because Utrecht only drew, so it's best for it all to go to pear shape now anyway. But I obviously still want them to come back for a Leeds bet.
I'm still waiting on Leon for both my bets tonight. I do have to log off, sorry guys, but before I go, I'll just give Patrick or Webb Simpson has come back to a level pair. He just eagled the 9th in the golf, so that's him in tied 6th it is now, because everyone's going to come back. If he stays at even pair for the back 9, he's in prime position to attack for the weekend. So that's
good news.
Yeah, and Turtle Hatton's going to miss the cut badly, but 1 out of 2 win bad.
Peak too early.
1 out of 2
win. 200 through 2 yesterday, and he's plus 10 now.
Peter.
So it's
come here, PK. Before you go, you're back Sunday for a quick NFL preview, yeah?
What time are you planning on doing that?
Whenever you're free, Peter.
Time difference, boys. First game's at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, about midday.
Here. Oh yeah, 1 here. Sorry, yeah. Sometime before. Yeah, early in the morning here. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, but PK, like if we do it at midday GMT, you'll still be up from the night before, so that'll be perfect.
This is what I was trying to allude to, lads. I don't know what sort of shape I might be in Sunday morning, but I could, yeah, we'll see, and we'll be in contact.
We'll be making more sense than usual, anyway.
Thanks for that. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, I think that's me over and out, guys. I'll keep it on. I've all your bets here in front of me, and I'm going to keep an eye out, and best of luck. So, have a good night.
Cheers,
Okay,
PK.
Peter. See you, PK.
Good luck.
Thank God he's gone, huh?
God, great fella. The only fella to leave stage 3 and go working in the kitchen.
I don't think we should be naming names here now, man. But
Oh yeah.
So, Lee, did you go through your bets for the weekend?
No, we didn't. Well, I'll throw them up here now.
Yeah. So
your weekend,
mine
actually, you got a treble.
Yeah, mine are more about passion and lack of analysis than the well-researched bets that we've had. So very, the first bet I'll start with is Bolton. So obviously they used to be a huge club. They've had 2 relegations the last couple of years. So you'd be expecting them to kind of bounce back at some stage. I think they've been favoured to do well in League 2. But the main reason I'm backing them is because they signed Owen Doyle, who was prolific last year in League 2 with Swindon. He's got the golden boot, scored 11 goals. Not scored in 11 games straight, scored more than 11 goals. And had offers to go above, but decided to sign again in League 2. So I think he's going to do well again, obviously. So I'm backing them. They were beaten last week 1-0. I think they might. Well, yeah, I think they'll do it this week. So I back them, threw them in there. Celtic, obviously, it's a bit of an easy bet to throw into any kind of accumulator. They're more than likely to win every week. They had a tough game last week, went 1-0 down, showed good character to come back. Odds on Edouard is, to me, the next Moussa Dembele. Maybe even better, to be honest. He's young, he's banging goals for the French under-21s. He has 5 goals already for Celtic this season. Celtic signed Ejeti from West Ham. LB, I asked you about him. You were watching a lot of West Ham last year. Gary, you might have seen him maybe as well. I don't think he had anything,
Make the pitch that much now, to be honest.
Yeah, so I was about to say, I don't think he had any film, as they'd say in America.
I think I got closer to the pitch on occasions than I did when I was in the stands.
Yeah, so he scored 3 goals already, started 1, came on as a sub and 3 goals. So if you have 2 quality strikers in Scotland, you're always going to be scoring goals. So
then you've got the Duffster from any set pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, again, it's an easy bet, but over 2.5 in the Celtic match at home to Livingston, and then going against PK. I think, obviously a great squad, great manager. They signed Alcantara. I think he'd be a brilliant addition to them. But at the same time, I like Chelsea. I hate them as a club, but I like their players. I like who they signed, and to be honest, I like Lampard. I like his style as a manager. They've good young players there, and I didn't actually see the game against Brighton last weekend, but like I said, I'm going on emotion this weekend, so I'm backing Chelsea to win that one. So, they're my bets for the weekend.
I'm in the same boat as you there about Chelsea. Like, I've kind of always disliked Chelsea. Apart from when they had Damien Duff in the team, he kind of cheered from the Irish standpoint. But now that they've signed Thiago Silva, actually when they signed him, I was like, how am I supposed to hate Chelsea now? Like, it's not that way. I hope he does well, but
do you think he'll play much?
I think so. I think
me too.
He won't be like, he obviously hasn't got the legs that he used to have, but I think his positioning will get him out of those holes.
They got him cheap enough as well, didn't they?
Got him on free, I think.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
So yeah, that's cheap. As cheap as you can get one. But yeah, no,
You get paid to take them.
Sorry.
Nothing. Move on.
That's jokes again. No, yeah. So I think it'd be good, and I don't know whether Chelsea, like, to be honest, I wouldn't bet on the game on Sunday, but yeah, I think still they'll be good for them. I think you're to give them a bit of a stroke there, Dave.
Yeah.
He's still laughing at my hilarious joke.
He's gone. He's drinking champagne.
Like, he's choking there now. But it's a very big treble, like, you know, big odd treble.
Yeah. I said I'd go high. Like, I mean, again, I think it's 14-1 all of them in. So yeah, I mean, over 2.5, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful now that I'm thinking about it again. I was obviously hopeful when I placed the bet, and then, you know, I was a bit doubtful, but I'm hopeful again. And maybe it's the few cans of Tisky that I've had that are helping my mentality along. But
no, I mean, the Bolton one is like, I think that's I'd be 50-50 about that. Celtic, I agree, should, like, you know, they're gonna win, so it's only the over 2.5 you're worried about. And they should get that. And then, like, I think it's a flip of a coin at the weekend as well. Chelsea, Liverpool. I said I'd be staying away from it from a gambling perspective.
Big time.
But you can make an argument for either team, like.
Big time, yeah.
What odds are Bolton, Lee?
LB.
Remember, let me check here.
LB. All I have is the bet slip. And just by the way, for the viewers, it's a behind enemy lines job here. So being based in Poland, you can't actually get onto the gambling website. So you need to have a proxy, like all the issues in the Middle East. So, you know, I found a proxy to be able to look at my odds. So, what were they, LB?
They're 13-8, so it's not bad. Was it with you, Lee, that we went into the bookies in Gdansk in Poland?
I went with you one time as well.
Was it you? Me and you went in. It was like something from 100 years ago, like
refill folder, or what you call it, the ring bind.
Yeah. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's just like you walk into this little room and there's just a big table in the middle, and there's just, like, you know, secondary school folders, like big A4 refills, just with like hundreds of pages, and beside every market that are there in alphabetical order is like a 9-digit code, like in Argos. You fill it out on a piece of paper and bring it up to the till. Your man types it into the computer. And I think they charge about 20% tax. So I think the bet that we put on, I think at least three of the legs were wrong, like, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it's not exactly an encouraging way of going about it.
So it's like stepping into the bloody time machine, time warp, after the 70s or something.
Yeah.
I was mad because I was actually watching a comedy show last night, and one of the sketches was it was actually David O'Doherty, Slats, and he has a sketch about Argos, and he was like, you know, basically whoever created it must have thought they were creating a bookies with, you know, looking through the book, the form guide, filling it in with your pencil, and then being sent up to the screen to cheer on your number, like, you know. You know, he said it a lot funnier than me, but it's mad that, like, you know, I'd never heard that before, and then twice in 2 nights it's been Argos compared to a bookies, like.
Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah. The Dutch second. We're just starting here. It's still 2-0 Roda, 1-0 Ajax. But I was looking, like, Dordrecht actually had more possession, more attacks, and more shots in the first half against Roda, and they're down 2-0. Like, so, you know, it's looking decent that they might actually manage to get a goal in the second half. And then the Eagles weren't that much in the first half of their game. But when I was back in the draw there, my worry was that the Eagles would just win it handy enough, because Ajax have been pretty poor this season so far. Lost 3 out of 3, so the fact that Ajax are up 1-0 is definitely a good sign there as well. So
I'm actually disappointed that I didn't just lump. I was thinking to lump on Charleroi earlier on. We were talking about it in the group beforehand.
2-0
with 2-0. So like I backed them with QPR and with QPR, but I backed them over 1.5 as well. So like that was 13-10 maybe. Just seems like such an easy bet. Now it's 2-0 up.
Like Charleroi will always stick in my mind. When was the when Belgium and Holland hosted the Euros? Was it, what was that, 2000 or 98?
98, I think. Yeah, no, that was France.
2000, Euro 2000,
France 98.
Euro 2000. Yeah, and it was like I just remember there being absolutely murder when a certain country was playing in Charleroi, and that's it. Like it's always stuck in my mind since as a place.
Charleroi was a town that seems designed for things to kick off, though it's not exactly.
I've never been, but the stadium is very unique as far as it has around half the ground. It's very it's a decent stand, these days
actually,
with stadiums.
The Belgian stadiums are cool. Like they're very kind of old fashioned, and they're not, they're all kind of slightly different to each other and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I miss it. I remember LB a few years ago I said to you about the Aviva and the Emirates, like, and the way these architecture companies are like developing, I mean, it's been the case for years. Like it's obvious everyone misses the old, like Lansdowne Road, where the grounds are pieced together over 50, 60, 70 years, and you end up with this beauty,
Yeah. I think my favorite is the Liège Stadium. It's like Sellers Park here. It's like going back in time. So
we went to Fulham.
I went to Craven Cottage. Yeah, that was great.
Craven Cottage, yeah, and it's lovely down there. I mean, I've never been to a football ground where there's a park beside it and people are drinking champagne, having picnics. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's the only place in England you could get.
Yeah, I mean, we might throw the picture up on Twitter of we took a selfie in the stand, and to be honest, I looked like I was dragged out of the grave going to the football match. It was a bit of a busy night there in London the night before, so
the go for dinner the night before didn't quite pan out as dinner, and then barely made the game.
Been to many over in Poland, Lee?
I went to Tree last year, so
They're not open to people now at the moment, are they?
They actually are, yeah. Lecky are playing at home tomorrow. You can go in, no problem. So I'm going to go to that. Maybe go to that 3:00 kickoff. I went to 3 games last year. The first one was a lovely 0-0. It was Baltic. The second.
So you want to have your fun with you going to those games, like?
I actually seen a fella in the Celtic jersey there, and then I was talking to there's a guy I know that goes, and apparently the leaning of the fans of Lechia Gdansk isn't necessarily one of friendship with Celtic, so I decided not to wear any Celtic stuff. But I bought a jacket when I was back home there, my Celtic jacket, so I'm gonna wear that the next time I go. But then the second time I went to the match, then there was Lechia Gdansk had played Arctic Gdynia in the derby the week before, and they'd stolen a banner from Arc, and they had it in their own end there, and they lit it on fire, so there was a fire in the ground, the smoke throughout the ground. The referee paused the game for 10 minutes. There was just smoke everywhere. I was sitting at the halfway line, couldn't see the other halfway line, so the first time a game had ever been stopped for smoke on the pitch due to the fans burning banners. And then the third game we went to was a good 4-3, so there was loads of goals there. So
nice variety of
games this year.
Of games. So
what was I going to say? What's the stadium they built in Lopot for the Euros there? Do you remember, Gary?
That's the Gdansk Stadium.
That's Gdansk, yeah.
Yeah, that's a class stadium, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was good crack now, that Euros. Apart from Ireland being absolute dog shit.
And us cheering them on as if they were.
And the weather was fairly bad as well. Do you remember was it the Croatia match, the first match? We were absolutely soaked because you had to walk to and from the ground. And then, it was just nightmare. But great crack. Really enjoyed that.
That kind of mild enough weather, warm enough weather that the wet didn't bother you. Between that and the drink, like, you were kind of grand.
Yeah, but it was torrential, like.
Oh, it was teeming.
But like a few beers, you'd get over anything, like, so.
But they still talk about it. Like, I've been in a taxi a few times, and like when you say you're Irish, or you know, they still say about the Irish fans coming then about how great a time it was, because apparently, I mean, I wasn't there, you guys were there, but like it was absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I think we got on local TV in Sofa at that time, singing the songs in the square, like.
But if you compare that to like even when Lekia play Arkely, like the two dancing Gdynia, like they locked the whole town down the day of the game. Like it's just, you know, and then compare that to thousands of people just singing without setting things on fire.
And and that's it. I mean, like when you have it, like when you've Gdynia at one end, Gdansk at the other, Sopot in the middle, and there's like riot police everywhere. And then you have like, I don't know how many thousand Irish fans were there, and everyone's just hugging, drinking, and kissing.
I remember the first night, there was just rows of riot police there. They were like, this is going to kick off. There was just so many Irish fans, so much booze flying around. They just thought it was going to kick off. By the end of the week, they were like, people getting photos in, arms around this riot police and all, chatting, having the crack. Like,
was there any other teams there, or was it just like, was it
the night
Croatia?
Before we arrived, was it Croatia against Italy? I think there was a bit of
might have been,
bit of tension between or that sort of thing. Spain were the other team. I don't think there was anything from them, but I think the first night maybe between Croatia and Italy was a bit of beef. But,
and are we going to get any stories from this trip, or like are they going to be kept for follow on?
It's a long season.
Live streams,
long season.
Okay.
Unless you want the stories of lads in camper vans, that's
Gary. My favourite stories. My favourite, up close and personal. I mean, Jesus. Especially slats.
Speaking of up close and personal, you see that German match where the team were socially distancing and they refused to go near anybody.
Saw that, yeah.
So they only fielded like 7 or 8 players because the rest of them all had COVID, and the guys who did.
I'm surprised it was. What was it? What was the score?
37-0.
So what are we talking? A goal every 3 minutes? They obviously gave up at some point.
What was it? So, was it a professional game or
a lower league game? And they wouldn't go near anybody. They wanted to keep their distance, so they wouldn't go within 1.5 meters of anybody. So every time the other team got the
players
ball
on the pitch.
So as soon as they lost the ball, the other crowd just walked down and scored, and then to kick off again, they tried to score.
Send your striker up to stand near the keeper, and he heads off out of the way to go.
It was the 11th division of German football, so there's no offside. You could, if you were 5 years old, you could play.
How do I bet on this?
Minus 35.
It's like a college football spread. Are they going to beat them by 35.5? This Bayern match is not far off at 8-0 now over here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Probably the only person in the world who backed unders in anything tonight in Germany.
What about the last I saw, Gnabry had a hat-trick. Has he added to it more?
I can't see who scored.
Yeah, Muller, Sane. Muller's his 50th birthday this year, is it?
Yeah, he doesn't look any older. He just looks the same age he did when he broke into the team. But I remember when they said he was 22, I thought he was about 30. Now he's probably about 40. I still think
he's definitely going to be retired to be a farmer, though, I'd say.
But I was reading about him, and when he's not playing, him and his wife and their kids, they just have a little hut up in the mountains, and they just head off up the mountains and just spend 3 weeks up in the mountains doing nothing. Presumably doing something weird, but like.
How many kids do they have?
I don't know them that well now. I just read
something. Spending that much time in.
What are they called? I don't know.
Spending that much time in the huts in the mountains, I'd say they have a few, all right.
That's it.
So, Gary, what would your even spend of the weekend be?
I think my banker of the weekend would be Exeter tomorrow.
Right.
So
banker.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I like Port Vale. I have a bit of a soft spot there. My father supports Port Vale, so follow them closely. But they've always been fairly dodgy away from home. They're decent at Vale Park, and Exeter's home form is pretty good. They played well. I think they drew last week. Played well, and And yeah, I think they'll win tomorrow. So they only lost once at home last season. The season before that was a dip in their form at home. I think they won about half their home games. Then the season before that, they won like 80%. So over the last 3 seasons, I say they average around 70% of their games that they've won at home. So yeah, I think 6-5 tomorrow is a decent shout on them. And then the Norwich one as well. So it'll be a flip of the coin between them and Norwich. Norwich are obviously 4-5, so you're looking for evens. I don't think I'm allowed a 0.8 in that. So yeah, either of those. But I think Exeter probably the best.
Slats is the adjudicator now of what counts as evens and what leeway are you allowed between 1.1 and 0. Or 2.1, 1.9.
I mean, 10 to 11's all right, isn't it? You see, all you're really concerned with is that for any time we pick something under evens, that the next time or another time we pick one over evens.
So, sorry, are we starting it this weekend?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
we'll run through these. So you've picked your 2 there, Gary. Right? So my 2, Rome at 9 to 10 and Navy plus 6.5 would be my 2 that I'm kind of most confident on. I think.
What was the second one, LB?
In college football, Navy plus 6.5 points. So the opposite of PKs, like -6, so they can lose by 6.
Yeah, they can lose by up to 6.
I think I'm going to go with Rome at 9 to 10 just to win. So if I was backing that, I'd just let that play for 5 minutes. They'd drift to evens, and then I'd back them. I'd be basically on the fence between the 2 of these selections. But you're kind of accepting that Navy plus 6.5. So you're saying that they're the worst team, but I like them to not be that much worse. So for that reason, I'd probably say. Now I'm going to back Navy without the spread. I'm going to back them to win on their own anyway. So I am confident of that bet, but I think I'm going to take Rome at 9 to 10 and be the last time I ever back Rome if they let me down on this one, because they're probably my most losing team. But
who are Rome up against?
They're away to Hellas. Verona are a very good at home team, and they had a few good results last season, but without the fans, it's not the same. It's an intimidating place to play, and without fans, it isn't. I think Roma, like I said, they were quite good last season. Even after the break, they had some good results. I think they held Sevilla for a fair part of that game. And obviously, they went on to win the Europa League. So, they're a much better team than Hellas, and I think the crowd, the lack of crowd, hasn't been really taken into account. So I think they're.
Have Hellas lost their what's their home form been like since the crowds have been taken away?
Poor. Yeah, their form generally was poor after the restart. So they were on track for a European place before that, and then it just completely fell away. So
really, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Rome at 9 to 10. But like I said, if I'm insisting on evens, I'd let that drift for 5 or 10 minutes and then get the even money. What about you, Lee? Do you have an evens bet that you like the look of? Or maybe because you're behind the great wall over there, you're not able to see the odds clearly enough.
Yeah, it's difficult. So we're gonna see. I'm an emotional person, so I'm gonna go with emotions all the time. So I'm gonna, again, like last week, fancy the Packers. I'm gonna take the Packers again this week, -6.5. PK said earlier, like 7 points in the NFL is always a fucking big hurdle, but against Detroit, like I was watching the game. I was watching the Packers last weekend. I think it was half time. Detroit, I can't remember the score line. They could have been up by 2 touchdowns. I was like, that's game over. Right? Chicago come back and win. I don't fancy Stafford. I never obviously very, very, very usable quarterback in the NFL, but he's not. I just don't think he has the leadership. He's not carrying that club. He's been there for, I don't know how long he's been there now. He's a veteran in the NFL. They signed Pearson. I just don't fancy it. I fancy the Packers. They obviously had a solid game last week. You could say the Vikings didn't put up much, but they weren't allowed to play. I was watching Aaron Rodgers' interview on Pat McAfee podcast yesterday, which is brilliant. And they had the Packers had 40 minutes of offensive possession, which is a record since that stat was kept in the NFL. So they absolutely dominated. Obviously, the Packers drafted Jordan Love. Rodgers, I mean, if you ever see an interview with Rodgers, he's always talking about where he was drafted, 27th, 28th. You know, it's a trendy thing to say in the NFL. You know, it's overlooked of a chip in the shoulder, going to prove everything wrong. But you know, like Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever lived. He's after been discredited again by them doing what they did when he was drafted with Favre. So I think he's going to have an unbelievable season this year. He had an unbelievable week last week.
I actually heard some good theories on that drafting that they did, which was basically a way to wake him up, and that, you know, if they just, because basically, you know, it's probably the best receiving draft there's ever been, and there was so many options for players, and the fact that they didn't take one, and then not only did they not take one, but they went and traded out to get a quarterback, that it was just a way to say to him, not only have you become lazy, but your attitude stinks. So like basically cop on and start playing again. So based on last week, it looks like it kind of worked because it got an awful lot out of him.
I mean, it definitely worked. And they would have said before the season started that wide receiver was a need. And like Valdez-Scantling, Lazard, like last week, like when you're looking at them, like the Packers have always had 2 or 3 solid receivers: James Jones, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb. They've always had good guys at receiver, and now they have Devontae Adams and the 2 lads that are young. You know what I mean? But they stepped up last week. They took a chance, and he obviously has confidence in them. You know, it'll work out, and hopefully it is that chip on the shoulder. So yeah, my evens pick is the Packers to beat the spread at -6.5.
Yeah, I think rather than the Packers having to be good, it's just the Lions aren't good on the road. So
yeah.
I very rarely back against the Lions at Ford Field, especially with spreads involved, because they always get, like, seem to be that kind of nearly team. They always lose
exactly,
by like 1 point or 3 points or something like that. But away from home, they're fairly toxic. So
I mean, they're never bad. Like the Lions are never, well, as long as I've been watching the last, 7 or 8, 9 years, they're never bad. Like you never rule them out.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They are a decent team, but they're a nearly team. They always seem to have that hard luck story, and they go up by a few points and then throw it away near the end and stuff. So not a bad shout. So what are we doing? We're going to just keep rolling over. We start with tenner or on this?
Yeah, well, we did skip your one, Slats. I don't think you gave us your evens, did you?
No, I haven't yet. So
I'm just eager to get to what we're doing. Like.
Yeah, so what we'll do in this moment is we'll go through the 5 of them, and then we'll discuss which is the best, and we'll go with that. I mean, the way they're looking, we could probably put the 5 of them on consecutively, because
that's how I actually thought that we were going to.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we might as well do
not just do one each every week.
5-match ACCA anyway, like
yeah.
But we picked the best to roll it in the 10 to 10K challenge.
Yeah. So we'll hit us with your one anyway, Slats, and we'll see.
Grand, yeah. So it's in this Lakers Nuggets game tonight. So for the impatient people out there, this is the one to go with. The Nuggets are +7, which seems high. I wouldn't say I'm massively confident on it, because you just, like, I think the Lakers are going to come out to prove a point. They're the favorites to win outright. The first game of the conference finals, they're going to want to kind of lay down the marker. I think they will win this first match, but the Nuggets are good. They were impressive against the Clippers. Again, they're going to want to kind of.
Didn't the Lakers lose the first match of the previous 2 rounds?
No, they lost the second match of the last one, and they lost the first match to the 8th seed. Yeah, first time. I know they went on to win the next 4 in each of those. Or well, they won 4-1 in both. But yeah, I guess early doors, in those. Those matches, they haven't been that impressive. 7 points, like they've played twice this year, like 4 times this season, but twice this year the Lakers won by I think 3 points and 4 points. The 4-point win, it had to go to overtime. They drew after the 4 quarters. They won by 4 points in overtime. The game before that this season, the Nuggets actually hammered them in LA. They won by about 20 points. And then the game before that, the Lakers did win by, I think, 9 points. So again, like that's the only of the 4 games that's the only one beat the spread, and the only.
So is Nuggets +7? Is that the bet?
Nuggets +7, yeah.
Not 7.5 +7. Yeah. I like it. I do. I actually like the Nuggets. I mean, I watch a fraction of the basketball that you watch, but just watching the likes of Sports Center and the Fox News, Fox Sports Center and stuff like that. That they're basically they're talking the Nuggets up big time. That they're
Really, yeah.
That they're underestimated by pretty much everybody. So like what they were saying is that LA have been practicing for the Clippers game.
That's very true.
Expecting that the Clippers would beat them, but they've been practicing it since they've basically gone into the bubble. Like they looked at the way this panned out, and they're like, "That's who we're going to be playing." That's kind of like the big, your name and lights kind of match. It's the one that all the kind of the media outlets wanted to see, and that now it's not happening. And because now this might, if I'm wrong here, correct me, but because Denver are playing, the games would be at slightly different times. But there are two LA teams, the games would have been at the same time.
Yeah, they're all in the bubble for the playoffs now because of COVID, so that's all kind of changed. There isn't.
But I think aren't they doing them based on like the home team's TV?
Okay, the crowd, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been practicing. So basically,
American what?
Yeah, so they've been practicing for like LA times, LA time zones.
Yeah. What is the difference between Denver? Like what? That's Colorado to LA.
I think it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is it 2 hours? Is that right? Yeah.
I know. Say 1 hour must be.
Might even just be 1 hour, but I think they were saying that everything was tailored against the player matchups. They've been watching film of the Clippers, and now it's just not happening. So they've had to kind of readjust. So
adjust their kind of mentality going into it. Yeah. That could definitely be against them for the first game of the title.
Yeah. So.
Lads, how did the Bucks do this year?
Well, I mean, they were nearly breaking records in the conference before COVID. Like they had they'd won. I mean, so many games. Now, actually, toward it, they started tapering off a bit, but they started kind of resting players and lost a few games they shouldn't have and that sort of thing. They were looking good, they performed. They got through the first round of the playoffs. But didn't look great, and they just didn't improve enough from there. They just didn't bring any form at all after COVID, after the break.
And who's their main guy? Because I don't know much about them, but just Rodgers bought the Packers quarterback bought a minority stake in them last year.
Giannis, the Greek freak, he was the MVP last player, and I think
another one of your favorites.
I mean, he's unreal. Like, yeah, they do a game. They have a break in January, and they do a game of the Western Conference, the best of the West versus the best of the East. So it's LeBron James. It's Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. So like he's considered at that level. Obviously, LeBron over in Europe certainly has a bigger kind of profile, but. Giannis is considered.
Did you say over in Europe? Like you're not here with us?
Agree. over here, he has a great profile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Outside of America, like LeBron is still he's such a big name, just as a celebrity, even as much as a basketball player.
What was he now? Does he have many years left in the tank? Or is he?
I mean, based on form, you would think he has a few. Like they've kind of Anthony Davis is their kind of but LeBron.
I think they just go off cliffs, though, don't they? Like because it's so hard on your body to play so many games a season.
Yeah,
they can go off cliffs, but he does look as good as ever, really. Like.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think they're kind of waiting for him to start dipping, and it just hasn't happened. Like, he is pushing on a bit more.
So I haven't watched a huge amount of basketball, but do they get injured often? Would you have you don't tear cruciates playing basketball, or you don't have.
There's a few. Yeah, I mean, there's always a few big injuries that they get, but it is more niggly injuries. And the thing is, they play about 3 games a week. Like, so if they get it, they could be missing 4 games without it being anything serious. Like,
not sure if that was digital or if you just started speaking insanely fast there, lads, but that came through.
I got the same as well. I thought it was my connection.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't think I said it. Stephen Curry for Golden State Warriors. Like the Warriors, I think the Warriors won 5 NBA titles in a row or something before Toronto. And Stephen Curry for them, they finished I think bottom of the conference this year. Curry was injured all year, and he's back now. He kind of came back toward the end, but he's one of those. If you watch his highlights, he's some man for the buzzer beaters, shooting shooting from like halfway, shooting from inside his own half, shooting, way out.
I've never seen a player get threes like him. Like, I remember I was over there for a couple of weeks, and it was around time one of the finals. I think they might have been playing Cleveland when LeBron was with Cleveland, and it was just like three after three after three.
Is this LeBron or Curry?
Curry.
Yeah, he's some man. He's shooting from anywhere.
Yeah.
Unreal. But anyway, he had a really long injury anyway this season, but he's back, and Golden State look like they could be a force next season again. But just back to the Dutch football, the second Ajax reserves went up 2-0 there, so
we've had a bit unlucky now tonight, but so early in the season your predictions are just so hard to
that's it, like that's why I just went for kind of a novelty enough bet with the shots on target and stuff in there, because like you can't even on form be like there is no real form available, like, you know, that way.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Even if you're trying to dig up stats, you're looking back to last season, kind of looking for, there's no form built out yet that you can kind of base it on.
Yeah. So of those five, would anybody? So I know Slats, you had a concern that the order that we discuss them might, and the order that we kind of vote for them might actually dictate what people pick. But if I was to go first, other than my own bet, I would probably say, obviously PK was pretty convincing early on with the Cardinals. We gave it a lot of thought, but because of what I had my own sort of opinion on the basketball before you even said it, I think the Nuggets plus the spread would be my pick of the others, excluding my own two, if you know what I mean. I like that because I like the Nuggets anyway, based on what I've been hearing this week. So that would be my vote if I had to vote for someone whose bet wasn't mine.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on the Nuggets, as in, like, I'm not educated enough on basketball.
I was going to say I'm the same with the football, so the American football, so I'm going to struggle to be able to determine anything there other than
I think we should. I would vote for both, so I would go Cardinals and the Nuggets.
So your football, Gary. So like if you're backing up PK's bet, like I think that carries.
I actually like PK's bet as well, but not quite as much as yours. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So Lee, you're just back there. I was saying we were discussing which of these bets we would put on as our first bet, and I said that my vote would be for the Slats' Nuggets plus 7 because I like the Nuggets anyway. So that would be my vote to him, and then Gary kind of said that he likes the Cardinals. So there's 2 for the Cardinals. So I'm not sure if you have any opinion on any of the other bets that you heard.
I mean, it sounds it sounds like without me wanting it, I have the power and the deciding voice. And
that's what you get for going to the fridge.
Jesus Christ! I don't do well with stress anyway. I mean, I'm going to go back to the toilet now in a second. But I'd probably say, Jesus.
Don't be offended because I'm on screen now and PK is gone. You might feel it's easier to go with my bet. I actually,
no, I mean, Slats, like, I mean, to be honest, if we're talking, like, obviously PK knows a lot, right? That's, of course, he knows a lot. But at the same time, I've known you a while. I've known you, I know the studious type of guy you are, and I've been impressed by your knowledge about the NBA tonight. And I don't know a lot about it, but I'm gonna have to go for the Nuggets.
Okay, that's 3 for the Nuggets now, so that's uncatchable.
Hang on, I didn't vote for the Nuggets. I'm voting for PK's.
Too late. All the pressure's on you now.
Oh God, I don't want this pressure. Does that mean I'm absolved from the next bet or something? I feel like I should get a buy if I.
Oh yeah, does it work like that? No,
I don't think for this one.
Because
we'll be doing that Russian roulette 1 to 20s anyway. So
yeah. Okay, so now I'm not sure if you got much of an explanation of this, Lee, offline beforehand. I'm losing my memory here slightly, but the way we're looking at this one is we're going to pick a 1 to 20 bet. So obviously the odds have a huge impact on the amount of bets required. But if you start with a 1 to 20 and you do 100 of them, you start with 100 quid, it'll go to 10 grand, right? Or 10,000 grand, as we like to say. So
10,000 grand.
Yeah, but what we'll do is
all the monies.
Yeah, exactly. All of it. So we'll do it like a Russian roulette. So it's going to be like pass the parcel. So I go tonight, Slats tomorrow, you, then Gary, then PK, whatever. Okay. Just go around in a row with it. We probably aim for one a day, but I don't think we should be religious about it. Like if somebody catches 1.
So,
And, still
so
the
Slats,
stats.
remind me what the bet is that I just voted for. That's 1 to 20.
No, we haven't picked the
This
one.
is separate now. This is a second.
We're not voting for the
Yeah.
1 to 20s. We're taking turns. So if it's my turn tonight, I'm
Mm.
not looking for any input or any votes on it. It's just my pick, and I have to try and get through it and pass it on to the next person.
And is
Give it
in the
pressure.
running betting a thing? Like if we were just to do it on the fly
Yeah.
while we're here.
But the only thing we said about that was that if you're maybe just if you can call it out beforehand. So say if you like Chelsea tomorrow, so you're like, look, Chelsea are going to storm it, and they'll be 2-0 up in the middle of the second half. I'm going to back them late on if they're already winning. Just so that we have a bit of time to enjoy what the selection is going to be, and not just a last minute. Put the money on Barcelona.
88th minute, and here we go, 1 to 20.
Yeah. So I'm not sure who we're going to go with first. I'm happy to use my account at the minute to start the process, and we can, it doesn't make sense to chop it around because it'll be 100 paying 102, paying 103.50 and all that kind of crap. So, does anybody have any serious bankers that they like to look off coming up over this weekend?
I haven't really looked at that side of it yet, but
No.
Well, I think I do, but I'm just trying to check the price because it might be too big for what we're doing. But again, it's based on the research that I've done into the Exeter Port Vale game. It won't be 0-0, so I back over half a goal in that game. I actually think there'll be an early goal in that game as well. So I'm just going to check now what over half a goal would be.
I can't see it being
I'd say
1 to 20.
It's probably going to be about 1 to 6, 1 to 7. But I'm happy enough to take that as being. I know we're saying 1 to 20, but
you're basically
limit,
you're
though?
laying the 0-0 draw, like.
yeah.
I mean, like, what happens when we're successful and we have, $7,000 in the bank account, and then someone wants to go all rebellious and do a 1 to 3?
No, so that's the thing. It's strict on the. We are strict on the price range against.
You know what? I've just checked it on Sky Bet, and over half a goal is exactly 1 to 20.
No way.
That's
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
The first week, there we go.
happening.
Okay, well, I'm happy with that then. Gary to go week 1.
Yeah.
Get this Russian roulette, the revolver out of my hand as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Yes, boy, yes.
So on my screen, I'm not sure if you guys have the same screen, but beneath Gary is Mark, and then up around to you at the top Slats, and then me after. So I think Mark, we line you up as next. So you just get your thinking hat on for a 1 to 20. And if there's an early goal in the Port Vale match, it can't be a second goal in the same match. Don't you? Let me see if I can find it here. What time is that match, Gary?
3 o'clock, League 2.
3 o'clock. Let's see it.
But are we doing it on every stream or once a week?
Oh, once every day. I think we're
Every day?
Yeah. We need to get
What
100.
what game was that again, Gary?
Exeter versus Port Vale.
I'm just having a look at it on the exchange to see, because I think we're going to have to do this on the exchange.
Yeah, I think the exchange as well, it's a liquidity thing. There might not be anything until...
No, there's not yet, but there's liquidity there at 1.03. So and
That's kilo. That's kilo.
Delay is 1.14. So it'll that based on that liquidity level, that will go up to 1 to 20 for sure before people.
Exeter Port Vale, yeah. And then...
You could even hold out because it might go to 1.06 or whatever. Like.
The exchange is...
While we're talking about that, I think PK is waiting on Leon for a winning start to his treble. So there's 8 minutes left in that game, still 0-0.
Were they big favourites to win that at kickoff?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like 1-4, I think, or something.
Yeah.
They've dominated possession, but in terms of shots,
Come on, Musa.
I think there's a VAR here for a penalty.
Is there?
I think so. They keep showing a replay of someone.
I think that's gone. There's no suspension or anything. Anyway.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a player injured, so they're showing that. It definitely wasn't a penalty anyway. But yeah, so we're settled on that for the Russian roulette anyway. So I'll take the risk.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I can't believe that's 120. I said I didn't know that.
You'd have...
I thought the odds might be a bit better on it, but I do think it's a banker. I can't see it not being more than a goal in that game.
I mean, like the odds at the bookies are terrible, right? Are we all like that's a thing? I mean, you need to be like it's mispriced. Like,
what was that, Gary?
It depends what you're backing.
yeah, true.
So
I mean, yeah. If
I got great odds today,
if you know what you're backing
on under 1.5 first half goals in the Bayern match, it's great odds. But no, I do agree with you. Like for the things that you would like to back, the odds are pretty miserable lately.
I wonder how it's like. Has it been affected by COVID? Like, have you seen any stats around how much the money back in, like, has it gone up with people being at home? Like we've seen in the stock markets, like it's basically destroyed. You know, everyone going at home, shifting from sports to the stock market. Like, has it gone back then again, or what's?
I haven't read anything official on it anyway, so I don't actually know what the volume is.
I don't think that they're impacted. I think it's just the same. Like, you know, everybody was backing online anyway beforehand. You know, it's not as if it was hard to get a bet on before COVID. Like, you know.
Yeah. But like no, but what like with the lack of sport, like of people, I don't know. I assume people are jumping back on it, but like, is there still people back in games? Like, there's been so much effect on it all. Yeah, it must be.
Well, maybe I just know a lot of degenerates, but like everyone I know is back Russian football, even when everything else was locked down. So they've been getting enough money in anyway.
The table tennis markets were taken off there for a while when everything was on lockdown, weren't they? That's actually true. Like, that's not even the table tennis.
Where is there a better sport to watch live? I mean, table tennis. You've seen the videos. I mean, it's
end to end.
It's otherworldly.
End to end. Literally end to end.
End to end stuff.
Right, so we've got our 10 to 10k sorted. It's going to be Slatz's banker of the day, the Nuggets +7, and then very likely going to be rolling that onto the Cardinals on Sunday, by the sounds of things. And we're going to start with a 100 quid on Exeter over 0.5. So, all right, I'm happy with both of those.
Well, it's just in that over 0.5 in that game, not Exeter the score line.
Yeah. So just the goal score.
So over 0.5 first half goals for Exeter. God, it'll be tough when you get later on. There'll be some stress putting these actual selections on.
That's the thing. Not even the money won't go up quickly at all, but just the pressure of letting everyone down. Like after 4 winning bets before you don't want to be the 5th person.
Yeah, it's like who wants to be a millionaire? Just like you get to, just before.
No, remember what it was? The weakest link. Remember that old show? You don't want to be that person.
Building the pot and you don't say bank before your question. And then you're a mug getting it wrong.
Are we able to bank or no? That's actually a good point. No. Okay. Fair enough.
If it gets to 10 grand, it's just close my Betfair account.
I mean, what's the name of our podcast? Or
Depends how far this Russian roulette thing goes. I like it though. I think it'll get it'll start out nice and slow and then it'll get pretty intense.
And you'd like to think we'll get through a few bets anyway before we.
But you both tried it before, so how give us your experience as to what the challenges are and how far you've gotten in the past.
The main challenge.
Normally, for me anyway, you might have been about to say the same thing, but it's discipline is the challenge. You rather than what you're supposed to do is do one bet a day and roll on. You end up you're about 2 days in and you're on your 15th bet, and you're just looking at anything at all where you see 1 to 20 odds.
For I was going to say discipline, but the other way is that you start out at 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 and you win 5 of them in a row and you think, oh, this is handy, and then you see a 1 to 10, you're like, oh, it's not that different, and then you throw it on a 1 to 10 and all of a sudden then you're backing like 7 to 10s and it's just you just escalate the odds, which they don't seem huge, but you're like, oh, if I can get a couple of big ones early, it'll move me 12 bets.
The payoff of that individual bet is so much more than another 20.
And then you just, you're back in QPR at 4 to 7 and they lose, and you're just like, all right, well.
Yeah.
This is my first time ever.
And what is that little dig, LB? Is it?
No. So the risk, that's why I think with 5 of us, the discipline is going to be, majority enforced. You won't be able to get away.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be going off in 10 bets yourself.
But are we gonna like every day like we're gonna vote, or it's gonna be past the person? Whoever's next up places the bet. There's no voting. There's no nothing.
No,
You pick it,
it's all
but
on
obviously,
you.
if you pick something that's 1 to 2, it'll be vetoed. You know.
Yeah.
But if it's around 1 to 18 or 1 to 22, that's okay. Like if it's in around 1 to 20, doesn't have to be bang on it. But
What's the target? 10K.
10K after about 100 bets, you should be up at 10K.
Or in reality, after 12 bets, we'll be on 0 and we'll be starting again.
But once it's not you, you can just laugh at the person.
That's the thing. Once it isn't the person, you'll be delighted.
Mug off.
Yeah. Right, so I can see there will be liquidity on that tomorrow, but at the moment it's still stuck on 1.03, so I'm going to leave it off until then.
Yeah, but like you'll get that on the sports book. Like they'll let you do that one on Betfair Sportsbook anyway, and I assume it's 1 to 20 on there. So like if you're worried about getting on.
But looking at the liquidity that's there now, I'd say that could move to 1.06 to 1.07 on the exchange before kickoff. Might be worth holding out. Like.
I won't do it now. I'll wait. Any luck with PKs, Leon? No, 89.
No, it's still 0-0. It's going into the 90th minute now. It's kind of been end to end that game, but it's 1 to 10 to end in a draw now. So I'll see now how much is added on, but there's been a few chances, but nothing major. Actually, as I said, Leon just had a good chance there a minute ago. The keeper made a half decent save, but he made an absolute meal of it. So, but it's literally just gone 90th minute, and
it's actually
5 minutes added on, so there's still a chance of it.
On the sportsbook, it's 1 to 14 for that.
So do we pounce now?
I don't think the exchange will go much bigger than 1 to 14 anyway. Yeah. Sure. And I think as well we can validate that it's a 1 to 20 because you saw it at another bookies at 1 to 20 anyway. Like I think that's not the same thing as picking a 1 to 6 or 1 to 2 shot because you fancy it.
Yeah, no, Sky Bet was definitely 1 to 20 anyway. So.
No, that's grand. There's always going to be variation. If anything, it makes it feel like we're getting good value.
Yeah, that's the value bet.
I don't see this match on this board. Oh, there we go. Right, I'm gonna stack this one up now then and do it because there's no point. I mean, like you said, we're not going to get better than 1 to 14, and it is a fair 1 to 20 shot. So that is going to pay us €7.14 profit. So not a bad.
It's not bad. The last time I did this just as a test run, I did it with a tenner, and I was doing 1 to 50s. It was pretty miserable.
Yeah, those ones are so painful at the start.
Yeah, really.
Right. Well, let's wrap. I think we'll wrap this up now. We go off air. So thanks for tuning in. We've actually had nearly 100 different viewers tonight. So hope you enjoyed the show. Obviously, the bets didn't go particularly well, but early in the season, you're going to get that few close calls. And tune in the next time. So we'll probably have we'll definitely have an NFL Sunday show. And we might get an update video tomorrow to you to see how we did last with the Nuggets tonight and the first of our 10 to 10K and the Russian roulette bet of 0.5 in the Exeter match. So